Tehran is a large city, usually full of life and activity. There are millions of people, many shops, and busy streets. But now, Tehran is quiet. It is like a ghost city. The streets are almost empty. Most shops are closed. Many people are not here anymore. This change happened because there is a serious fight. A war is happening between the country of Israel and the country of Iran. The fighting became much worse around June 13, 2025. Israel started to attack places inside Iran. Israel says that Iran is trying to build dangerous nuclear weapons. Israeli planes and drones bomb important sites in Iran. They attack army places and places connected to their nuclear work. Iran is fighting back strongly. Iran is sending many missiles and drones towards cities in Israel. They target cities like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. This creates fear for people living in Israel. In Tehran, people are scared because of the attacks from Israel. They hear loud explosions. They see lights in the sky at night. Air raid sirens sound often, telling people to find shelter. Because of the danger, many people decided to leave Tehran. They want to go to safer places away from the fighting. Leaving the city is hard. There are long lines of cars trying to drive out. It is difficult to find gas. People are worried and do not have much clear information. Some people who cannot leave are hiding in places like underground metro stations for safety. The government is trying to help, but it is difficult because the attacks continue. The world is watching this war closely. Other countries are worried about the fighting. They are afraid the war will become bigger. They are also worried about the safety of the people in both countries. This fighting is causing many problems. People everywhere hope that this war can stop soon and that peace can return. This chapter will explain the start of this difficult time. 2. The first attacks. The war became very real on the 13th of June in the year 2025. On this day, Israel started a big attack. It was an attack from the air, using many planes and drones. Israel said they had to do this. They said Iran was trying to build nuclear weapons. These are very dangerous bombs. Israel did not want Iran to have them. So, Israeli aircraft flew into Iran. They bombed many important places. Some of these places were part of Iran's nuclear program. This means they were used for studying or making things needed for nuclear energy or weapons. Other places were important for Iran's army. They hit army bases, places where missiles were made, and command centers. The attacks happened in different areas across Iran. They also happened close to the big city of Tehran. Israel said they had planned this air attack for a long time. Their goal was to stop Iran from having atomic bombs. The strikes hit deep inside Iran. They aimed for places underground where nuclear work might be hidden. Israel used technology to find these sites. After the first attacks on the 13th of June, Israel gave warnings to people in Tehran. This was on the 15th of June. They used loudspeakers to tell people in Farsi and Arabic languages. The message was for anyone living close to places that might be targets. Israel told them to leave these areas right away. They wanted people to move to safer places before more bombs fell. The attacks did not stop quickly. They continued for days. The Israeli army kept hitting military targets. They wanted to destroy Iran's ability to launch missiles. They also aimed at the people leading Iran's military efforts. For example, on the 17th of June, Israel announced that Iran's wartime chief of staff, a man named Ali Shadmani, was killed. Israel claimed many other army leaders and scientists were also killed in planned attacks. When the bombs hit near Tehran, people heard loud explosions. At night, the sky over the city lit up. This was from anti-aircraft guns firing. These guns try to shoot down the planes. Sirens also sounded. Sirens mean there is danger and people should find shelter. Iran's own news reported some of the attacks. They said places for nuclear work and missiles were hit. A group from the world called the IAE, which watches nuclear activity, also said an underground nuclear place was hit and badly damaged. The leader of Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, spoke about the attacks. He said Israel would not stop fighting. He said they would continue until Iran's plan to make nuclear weapons was stopped. Israel's defense minister also said they would hurt Iran severely to stop them. The first attacks were a strong step by Israel. They targeted key places to reduce Iran's ability to make weapons and fight back. The warnings in Tehran showed that Israel expected to hit more sites, putting civilians nearby in danger. Living near military or nuclear sites became very unsafe. People who heard the warnings had to decide quickly what to do. The sounds of the attacks became common in some areas. Loud booms and sirens were heard often, especially at night. This was the start of a very difficult time. 3. Iran fights back. Israel attacked Iran first in June 2025. Iran reacted with great anger to these strikes. Tehran's government quickly promised a strong military response. Soon after the initial Israeli attacks, Iran began its counteroffensive. The Iranian military, including forces like the Revolutionary Guard Corps, launched many waves of weapons towards Israel. These were mainly ballistic missiles and armed drones sent across the sky. Iran sent these weapons over several days. By the 21st of June, Iranian reports claimed they had fired nearly 400 missiles and hundreds of drones towards Israeli territory. The targets were not only military sites. Iranian weapons flew towards many cities across Israel. These included major population centers like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Other cities hit or threatened were Haifa, Beersheba, Holon, and Bat Yam. When the missiles and drones approached, loud air raid sirens sounded across Israeli cities. This warning sent residents rushing to find safety. People quickly went into bomb shelters, reinforced rooms in buildings, or underground parking garages. Israel used its advanced defense systems, known as Arrow and Iron Dome, to protect its cities. Israeli officials reported that these systems were highly effective and successfully intercepted most of the incoming Iranian weapons high above the ground. However, some missiles did get past Israel's defenses. Around 30 to 40 missiles managed to impact in Israel or got close enough to cause significant damage. This had a terrible human cost. Tragically, at least 24 Israeli civilians were killed by these attacks. Hundreds more people were injured and needed medical treatment in hospitals, particularly in cities like Tel Aviv. The town of Bat Yam suffered the highest number of casualties. The attacks caused fear and disruption in daily life. Sirens became a frequent, chilling sound, familiar to some from past conflicts. People had to stop what they were doing and seek cover at any moment. Falling debris from intercepted missiles or actual impacts sometimes caused fires and blocked roads. Train stations and major highways were closed temporarily for safety. Schools in central Israel were often closed. Despite the danger, many Israelis showed resolve, helping those affected and trying to maintain life as much as possible under the threat. The fighting had now fully reached Israel itself, as Iran delivered its powerful response to the first attacks. This marked a dangerous new phase in the conflict, with both sides exchanging heavy fire. 4. Tehran is empty. The big city of Tehran felt strange now. It was very quiet. Usually it was full of noise and people. But life had almost stopped. The streets were empty. Shops were closed, their steel doors shut tight. Not many cars drove by, and few people walked on the sidewalks. Only police cars could be seen sometimes, driving slowly through the quiet avenues. It felt like a different city, not the Tehran everyone knew. People in Tehran were scared. They heard sounds that made them jump. They worried about danger coming to their homes. Because of this fear, many people decided they had to leave. They wanted to find safety far away from the city. They hoped to go to other places, even other countries. But leaving was hard. People got into their cars, wanting to drive north or south out of the city. But there were too many cars. The roads were full of cars, all trying to leave at the same time. There were very, very long lines of cars. Moving just a little bit took many hours. It was a big traffic jam on the highways leaving Tehran. Getting gas for the cars became a big problem. Many gas stations had no gas. Some had only a little. People waited in long lines, hoping to get enough gas to drive away. Sometimes people had to trade things or pay a lot of money to get gas. It was very difficult. Families who wanted to fly away also found it hard to get plane tickets or money from other countries. Getting information was also difficult. The internet often did not work well. Sometimes people could not use their cell phones. It was hard to talk to family and friends who were already gone or far away. People did not know what was happening in other parts of the city or the country. This made them feel more scared and alone. Rumors spread easily because no one had real information. State TV did not show much about what was happening either. For people who could not leave, the city offered little help. There were no special safe places for everyone to go. Some people tried to find shelter where they could. Many people went to the underground metro stations. They stayed on the floors there at night. They thought it was safer under the ground. But even there, they could sometimes hear warnings of danger above. Hospitals were very busy. They were helping many people who were hurt. Normal life felt like it had vanished from Tehran. The city was quiet, empty, and full of fear for the people who remained. 5. Leaders talk and act. The big fight continued. Leaders in Israel spoke strongly. Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel would keep fighting. He said they must stop Iran from making atomic weapons. He promised Iran would pay a big price. Defense Minister Katz said Israel would peel away Iran's power. He said they would keep striking until Iran's ability to fight was low. Israeli leaders said their attacks were successful. They said they had hurt Iran's military and killed some important commanders. Iran's leaders also spoke with anger. Commanders from the Revolutionary Guard promised to take revenge. They said every city in Israel was a target. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, made a video. He said Iran's missiles hit their targets with skill. Iran told other countries that they would not stop fighting while Israel attacked Iran. Both governments controlled information tightly. They tried to show their people they were winning. In Iran, the government limited the internet and phone use. They did this to stop military plans from getting out. State TV showed sad pictures, but also called people to be brave. Newspapers wrote about fighting for the country. They wanted people to feel strong and support the leaders. The government even arrested people they said helped Israel. They told people not to use certain phone apps, saying they could be used for spying. In Israel, public feeling was also strong. Many people supported the army's actions. News showed polls where most Israelis said they agreed with the fight. People felt they had to trust their leaders to be safe from Iran. They played patriotic songs. Leaders around the world were very worried. The United Nations had meetings and asked for peace. Countries in Europe, like Germany and Britain, asked Iran and Israel to stop and talk. The Arab League said Israel's attacks were wrong and could make the war bigger. Russia and China also asked for the fighting to stop. Some European leaders even thought about letting Iran sell oil again if they would talk about nuclear plans. In the United States, President Donald Trump spoke about the conflict. He used social media and made strong demands. He said the U.S. knew where Iran's supreme leader was hiding. He demanded Iran give up completely. But he also said he hoped to help make peace. This is a real person. President Trump sent more U.S. military ships and missile defenses to the area. The U.S. military helped Israel shoot down Iranian missiles. The U.S. government also made a special group to help Americans who wanted to leave the Middle East. The leaders of Israel and Iran used strong words. They acted to continue the war and to keep their people's support. Other world leaders tried to influence the situation, but the fighting went on. 6. People in danger. In Tehran, people felt very scared. They heard loud noises from the sky and felt explosions. Many people shared stories of their fear. They tried to leave the big city to be safe. But leaving was not easy. There were many cars on the roads, making long lines. It was hard to find gas for cars. People also needed money to leave the country. Many people could not leave. Older people or those without money had to stay. Some people hid in places like underground metro stations at night to feel safer. One woman named Shirin, who is 49 years old, told people she did not know if she would be alive the next day. Masoud Mousavi, a retired man of 51, did not want war. He tried to buy Turkish money to take his family by car to Turkey. Hospitals in Tehran helped many people who were hurt. Sadly, many people died, and officials said most were not soldiers, but normal people. In cities in Israel, people also lived with danger. They were afraid of bombs coming from Iran. When they heard sirens, they had to quickly go to safe places, like shelters or basements. Audie Schindler, an old woman of 71 in Jerusalem, was sad because the war touched her home. She cleaned glass from her door after a bomb part hit it. Suki Yoram, who is 67, saw her home in Petah Tikva city damaged by a missile. But she said they trusted their leaders and would stay strong. People in Israel tried to help each other. They gave blood and made sure the shelters were ready. A volunteer helper named Jimmy talked about the fear. He said he had to learn not to show his feelings. He had not seen his baby son for months because his wife went to a safer city. In cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa, people heard sirens many times a day. Schools closed, and shops sometimes closed early. People felt scared, but many also supported their country's actions. They hoped the danger would stop. 7. The world watches. The big fight between Israel and Iran got the world's attention. Many countries watched closely. Leaders in different parts of the world were very worried. They knew this war could become bigger and hurt many people. Countries around the world started to talk. They asked Israel and Iran to stop fighting. Important groups, like the United Nations, held meetings. They said it was important to stop the attacks and find a peaceful way. But it was hard to stop the war. Some countries in Europe, like Germany and France, also asked for talks. They hoped Iran would agree to talk about its nuclear program again. They thought this could help stop the fighting. The fighting also caused problems for people far away. For example, the price of oil went up a lot. This happened because people were worried about the oil coming from the Middle East. Higher oil prices meant it cost more money to buy gas and transport things in many countries. This was a problem for the global economy. Many people in different countries had family or friends in Iran or Israel. They were very scared. They watched the news all the time, hoping their loved ones were safe. It was a very difficult time for them. They sent messages and tried to call, but sometimes it was hard to get in touch. In some cities around the world, people went out to show their feelings. There were protests in places like London and New York. Some people showed support for Iran, and some showed support for Israel. They wanted their voices to be heard. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, talked about the war. "This is a real situation," he said, that the United States was watching Iran closely. He made strong statements. He said he knew where some of Iran's leaders were. He even said Iran should stop fighting completely. But President Trump also said he hoped there could be talks for peace. The U.S. government took some steps to help. They sent more military ships and weapons to the area near the fighting. They also made a special group to help American citizens who wanted to leave the Middle East. Other countries near Iran and Israel were also very careful. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE checked their defense systems. They worried that the fighting might spread to their countries. Airplanes had to change their routes because the sky was not safe in some places. This affected travel for many people, like those going on religious trips. Groups that help people in times of trouble also started to prepare. They thought about how they could help if many people needed to leave Iran to find safety in countries like Turkey. They also sent medicine and help to areas nearby. The war showed that problems between countries can affect everyone. The whole world was watching, hoping the fighting would end soon and peace would return. 8. What happens next? The fight between Israel and Iran is still happening. It has been going on for some time now. Israeli planes and drones are still attacking places in Iran. Iran is also still sending missiles and drones towards cities in Israel. People in cities like Tehran and Tel Aviv are still not safe. There are many dangers for families living there. Some people lost their homes because buildings were hit by bombs or missiles. Many others hide in safe places like basements or metro stations when there are warnings about attacks. People in both countries are worried about what will happen next. They feel fear and sadness for the people who are hurt or have died in the fighting. But they also try to be strong for their country. Leaders in Israel say they will not stop fighting until they reach their goals to stop Iran. Leaders in Iran say they will not stop fighting back against the attacks from Israel. Other countries and leaders around the world are trying hard to help stop the fighting. Diplomats from different countries are talking to try and find a way for peace. Countries like Russia and China are trying to get Israel and Iran to stop fighting and talk instead. The United States says it will help defend Israel if more rockets come. Experts who study the region say the future is not clear at all. One small mistake could make the war much bigger and bring in more countries from the area. They say many of Iran's weapons are still working, so the fighting can continue for a long time if no one stops it. The war makes things difficult for the economy in the Middle East and around the world. Oil prices are high because people are worried about the supply of oil. This affects many countries far away. People everywhere with family in Israel or Iran are very worried about their loved ones who are in the danger zones. Aid groups are getting ready to help people who need to leave their homes or need food and doctors. It is a time of great worry for everyone in the region and globally. The end of the war is not yet in sight. The future for the Middle East is very uncertain. Many people around the world hope very much that peace can come soon and the fighting will finally stop. What do you think is most important for peace now?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.